Today I messed up by ghosting before a date. A month ago I matched with a woman online, let's call her Sarah. She obviously had other options and kept me on the back burner the first couple weeks. Nothing wrong with that, I've done it too. After a few sorry I just read that, etc. texts, I took my shot and suggested a casual date in the park. Response times went from roughly a few days to just a few minutes. We planned for an evening later in the week and I left it at that. In the days leading up to the date, someone better for me came up, let's call her Julia. The day before my date with Sarah, Julia called and invited herself over to my place the following night for drinks. Because Sarah didn't seem all that interested early on and since I hadn't heard from her since we booked the date, I thought it was okay to unmatch her before and spare myself the awkward "I'm not interested in you anymore" talk. I've been stood up somewhere between 20 to 30 times in the last few years, not including the ones who just unmatch or ghost before the date. I thought it happens all to me all the time, why should I worry about doing it? Wrong, I instantly felt like shit. That feeling changed my mind about the women who did that to me, they were jerks and now I was one of them. Night of, I was pulling into my driveway. I saw my neighbor, who moved in at the start of the month, walking out towards her car. I hadn't met her yet and I figured I'd introduce myself. As I got out, we made eye contact. She recognized me. It was Sarah and the look on her face could only be described as disgust. I panicked and started nervously laughing like a lunatic before running into my house, because that's the worst possible way to handle the situation. Before Julia got to my place, I left a bottle of wine on Sarah's porch with an apology note as a peace offering. I really wish I would have taken the 2 minutes to have that awkward talk, because this is 1000% worse. Too long. Didn't read. I ghosted a girl before a date and it turns out she's my new neighbor. Lessons were learned. Today I messed up by almost killing all my roommates with a can of soda. This happened during college. So when I was a young buck, I enjoyed the occasional soda. I also enjoyed weed, but honestly I can't remember, if I was stoned when the following tragic comedy occurred. You be the judge. So I was in my shared apartment, lounging around, when I had an inkling to have myself a Coke. I go to the kitchen, and pull a can out of the fridge. This refrigerator did not ever seem to really know the difference between fridge temps and freezer temps. So it was kind of random what you might end up with, and on this particular day, I hit the reverse lottery and found myself holding a frozen can of Coke. But I wanted Coke, and I wanted it now. No worries. What I needed was some quick heat, and conveniently located next to the freezer was a stove. I should note that I excel in situations like this, because in no time at all I had whipped out a pot, some water, some blazing high flame, and in the middle of it all, one soon-to-be unfrozen can of soda. Plan in place and executed perfectly, I went back to the living room to watch some TV. It's really kind of up for debate whether subconsciously, I knew it would be a good idea to be anywhere but that kitchen. Because the bomb, as they say, had been lit. From here, I don't really have a conception of how much time passed. 2 minutes? 10? However long it was, my world was quickly punctuated by a literal explosion. I had no fucking idea what happened. A gas leak. A plane. I jumped to the floor to avoid doom. Very quickly thereafter, and while I'm still on the ground, my roommates came running into the living room. What was that? My senses slowly coming back, it kind of dawns on me this may have all been caused by my idea to basically light pressurized carbonation on fire. We run into the kitchen and to this day I still cannot believe what it looked like. There was soda, sticky soda, everywhere. But where was the can? The can was gone. Bits of aluminum had been blasted into the walls. The ceiling. Full metal shards literally half in a wall, half out. We literally stood there, mouths gaping, at the apocalyptic scene our standard college kitchen had become. I still sometimes think about how lucky I was. Could easily have been killed, or killed any of my roommates who came in the room. Imagine if I had come in a moment earlier, to stir the damn thing, head poked over it. I get the chills. Too long. Didn't read. I decided to unfreeze a frozen Coke by heating it in boiling water. Unsurprisingly, it exploded in a way that would have killed anyone in the room, and permanently placed me at the absolute top of the Darwin Awards. Today I messed up by asking my mom what a spice is used for. I'll never forget one time when I was like 11 or so. I was smelling all the different spices in my kitchen and was absolutely stunned when I got to the cumin and it smelled exactly like my balls. Wild as fuck. Curious, I took it to my mom and asked, "Mom, what is cumin for?" Innocent enough, but me not knowing how to pronounce cumin, she thought I had said cumin as in the slang term for ejaculating. She said, "Excuse me, why would you ask me that?" So I clarified my reason for asking, as anyone would, by stating, "Because it tastes like my balls." I really meant smell, as I hadn't actually tasted any. She was disgusted and angry at the same time and just said to stop talking about it immediately. I wanted to ask what meals of ours she's been adding it to, but she was so mad I just stopped talking to her. Looking back, I feel like that question could have either cleared it up immediately or sent her over the edge. It wasn't even until years later that I even realized why she reacted that way. The reason it stuck with me so long is the genuine moment of enlightenment felt upon smelling such a personal spice. Too long. Didn't read. Asked my mom what cumin is for and she thought I had tasted my own cum. Still does, honestly.